The sacking of Graham Potter is a disgrace. Rory Jennings, George Benson, the Chelsea creators, I'm calling you out. James Alcott, in your video, you almost sat on the fence a little bit. I will be the first to say it. This whole sacking is awful. And it's not because of Graham Potter leaving. It's because of the timing. I think it's a disgrace.
Theo, do you know what's a disgrace? The hiring of Graham Potter. It cost them 21.5 million quid to get him away from Brighton. He was on a salary of 12 million. He was on a 5-year contract and he lasted 7 months. What were the board thinking when they hired this guy? I mean, at the time we said this, you get rid of Thomas Tuchel, and I know things weren't good at the time, but this was a mistake, wasn't it? Do the guys in charge of this club know what they're doing?
Well, I've met them on 2 occasions, once at Fulham with you and once in Dortmund away, where they stayed at the same hotel. And in fairness to them, they have a lot of time for their fans, and they spoke to us and had a conversation about the club. And actually, some of my Chelsea mates even spoke to him about the Mason Mount deal, potentially getting more money than Reece James at the end of the season. Apparently, Mount turned down a deal. Now it looks like he's leaving. I'm sure Chelsea won't offer him the same after his performances this season. But I don't think they understand too much about football. And I actually believe that they've got too much power. I know they've come with money and that allows power, but they should have put their money in the right place. They should have given that money to a head of director, to people that actually understand football from different football clubs, rather than making yourself the director of football. Todd Bowley should have never had that position. He has too much authority at Chelsea Football Club. He should have given his money to people who know the industry better.
I agree with that, Theo, and I see this time and time again at all levels of football. Someone comes in who's very good at running a restaurant or in oil and gas or in a different sport. They come into the game of football, and my goodness, it's a very complex sector, and it takes years, even decades, to understand what the hell is going on.
Yeah, and the perfect
occasionally,
example,
occasionally people get it right. You know, Matt Benham, Tony Bloom are two of the best examples of owners who've got it right. But you're right, Theo. Put good people in charge, at least for the first few years. Put the right people in charge who know the sport.
Now, on the statement of Graham Potter, it said Graham has agreed to collaborate with the club to facilitate a smooth transition, which to me reads, okay, they're not paying him out the 5-year contract that he would have earned, which would have been about £70 million. £70 million to him. It's just, I'm sure he's definitely got a decent number to that.
Yeah, Theo, obviously there's a couple of things that I noticed from this statement. The first was they showed a bit of respect, didn't they?
Yeah, of course they did.
Contrasted to Daniel Levy and Conte, and that was a very terse statement. This praised Graham Potter as a man for his professionalism, for his integrity. And the second interesting thing, Theo, they've left Bruno in charge. Now, Bruno used to be a defender at Brighton. He's going to be in charge of Chelsea.
Now, my barber actually cuts his hair. Well, he doesn't have any hair. He doesn't have any hair, so I don't know how he cuts his hair. Maybe he does his beard, but he's good friends with him.
Really?
And he goes to his Brighton barbers often. I don't know if he has any hair left, but apparently he goes there, right? So comments don't come for me, right? He says Bruno's a great guy.
Yes.
Works at Chelsea. They love him at Brighton. Obviously played there against Bolton just a few years ago.
Yes.
Solid right back. And now he's a good head for the dressing room. But it's
nice joke, good head.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Shocker. Shocker. But listen, Thogdad, he's a good rep for the manager of Chelsea Football Club, but it's a big job. It needs someone experienced to look after that amount of players with the amount of money going around, the amount of egos within that squad. It needs an Ancelotti or it needs a Nagelsmann. It needs a big name.
It does, Theo. And this is what Potter said back in January. He described it as the biggest job in football. And I always thought he wasn't ready. If you look at his CV, he did 9th tier football. And then later on, he's in Sweden. He was obviously at Brighton and at Swansea. He had a good resume. He's obviously a good guy and a good manager. He was never ready for the Chelsea job. He got, 1.27 points per game? That's Glenn Hoddlebad.
The reason I think the sacking was a disgrace, though, isn't because Potter... Of course he had to go,
yes,
but it's the timing of it. I think they should have waited till the end of the season. Chelsea are currently about to play Liverpool at home in the Premier League. They're 5 points away from Europe, and they've got a Champions League quarter-final, which Graham Potter got them there to. Real Madrid over 2 legs, which, by the way, they would have had a good chance because the second leg is at Stamford Bridge, which gives you a slight advantage. And Real Madrid are so known for winning it in the second leg at Bernabeu, but that would have been mixed up. They beat Dortmund, which is a very good result considering Dortmund for the first time in 12 years are pressing Bayern for the Bundesliga title until a few days ago. So I don't think, all in all, he was having a terrible season. There's many clubs that would die to be in a Champions League quarter-final spot right now. And we haven't even had the first leg. I think After that Villa game, they've had a few bad results. At home to Southampton, losing. At home to Villa. Fair enough. But to jump to a gun and sack him at this moment in time, I think was the wrong point. Unless Nagelsmann comes in tomorrow. I would understand that Bowley has contacted Nagelsmann before the sacking. The idea that they haven't been in contact before this sacking has happened is BS. Of course they've been in contact with someone big. I'm sure they've got someone lined up. I don't think Bruno's going to be there at the end of the season.
Yeah, everything that's gone wrong here is the fault of the owners. It's all about bad recruitment of a manager, bad recruitment at players. It's horribly wrong. Who would have seen Chelsea 11th in the table at this stage? But you mentioned Nagelsmann, Theo, and that's an interesting one.
Who do you think's going to come in?
Well, this is the thing, Theo. Everyone's talking about him for obvious reasons because he's on the market at the moment. Obviously, Spurs wanted him a couple of years ago.
They've definitely been in contact, though.
Real Madrid, PSG, there's so many teams looking at him. But the thing about this, Theo, go back 20, 30 years, two of the best managerial appointments of all time. Sir Alex Ferguson came from Aberdeen in Scotland, Theo, yeah? And Arsene Wenger came from some Japanese club. Sometimes the best appointments are of relative unknowns. So Nagelsmann is one of the biggest names in the game. Yes, we know why he might come there.
Yeah.
This all feels like a managerial merry-go-round. You know, somebody leaves here, gets a massive payoff, and goes here.
Yeah.
Maybe what they need is a really good unknown. But the trouble with Chelsea, the board haven't got a clue about the game, so they won't know who to recruit.
Well, it's about the team around them. There's a few big members at Chelsea, like the head of recruitment, the head of... they've now got someone at the director of football as well. The people that know what they're doing need to step in here and suggest a really good manager with a project. But not just a project, a way of looking after the lads. I feel like the dressing room was always too negative. That was the big problem for me.
I think the dressing room is too full of people there. They've got 30-odd highly paid professionionals,
But
so you're always going to have 20 players at Chelsea who aren't selected that week. That's the biggest problem.
That's the fault of Bowley and Eghbali for signing too many big players.
Correct.
But you need one big manager to go, all right, this is my team. The rest, do one. You'll see you in training, fight for your spot. I know you're a big head, but look, you're not getting this team. Only 11 can go. Simple as. I don't think he ever did that. Potter was constantly changing around the formation, the tactics, the players. He never had a strong 11, which you knew every week you would see, like Jurgen Klopp has. Like, all right, Pep Guardiola rotates a lot, but he has less egos in the squad. And I'd even say Chelsea have more competition for spots as well. So it's a different situation. We need a manager now to come in with a plan, a project, unknown or known. They need to be respected. That's the key. They need to look up to him. It needs to be someone who walks in there with an aura and delivers a very big statement, not just on the pitch, off it. Chelsea Football Club right now could be heading in the wrong direction. And this job, whoever they hire, it carves out everything for the future of this club. I mean, when they started signing deals for 8 years to Mudryk, Enzo Fernandez, massive contract, a lot of Chelsea fans turned to me when I questioned it. And they said to me, look, these guys know what they're doing. You know, we trust the people at this club. Not Bowley and Eghbali exactly, but the people around them who have some knowledge in the world of football. But I never understood it. And I looked at the details, the amount they're paying out every year. They are stuck. It's like when you buy something on subscription basis and you can't get out the contract.
That is a very good example. Now, the point about the new manager, Theo, he's got to manage the players and he's got to manage the board. And that's the key. It's got to be someone who is very, very strong. I don't know what Potter is like as an individual. Maybe he wasn't strong enough to manage the board of directors.
Let us know what you think in the comments. It's a very interesting topic. But Rory Jennings, George Benson, I think you are mugs for simply being happy about the situation your club is in right now. You are in a mess. The timing of this the sacking of Potter was a disgrace. You need to get someone ASAP or you are going to go into turmoil. And I cannot believe just 2-3 years ago, post-lockdown, we saw Chelsea lift up a Champions League. Mad.
You know what's going to be ironic? If Chelsea win the Champions League in a few weeks' time.
Well, they need to... They're not going to do it with Bruno, are they? Imagine they do it with Bruno.
Imagine they do it with Bruno.
The Brighton boy. Unbelievable. This has just been a crazy 24 hours. Maybe we'll do a video on Brendan Rodgers as well. Let us know in the comments what is next for Chelsea. What do they need to do to get out of this terrible situation? See you in a bit.